While everyone else is obsessing over productivity hacks and morning routines, you're about to learn something far more dangerous. Niccolo Machiavelli never wrote about focus the way modern gurus do, yet he understood something they completely miss. Focus is not self-help. Focus is statecraft. It's the difference between ruling your life and being ruled by it. Most people treat focus like meditation, like some gentle practice of breathing and centering. Machiavelli would laugh at this weakness. He knew that real focus is war. It's the systematic destruction of everything that doesn't serve your rise to power. Every distraction you eliminate is an enemy defeated. Every boundary you set is territory conquered. Here's what the average person doesn't understand. Your mind is not a temple to be peacefully maintained. It's a kingdom under constant siege. And just like any kingdom, it will either be ruled by a strong prince or torn apart by competing factions. Those factions are your impulses, your doubts, your need for validation, your fear of missing out. They whisper constantly, demanding attention, demanding resources, demanding that you divide your power among 1,000 small concerns. Machiavelli taught that a divided kingdom cannot stand. The prince who tries to please everyone ends up controlling nothing. Apply this to your attention, and you'll see the problem immediately. You're trying to focus on your career while also staying updated on social media. You want to build something meaningful while also consuming endless entertainment. You're attempting to master one skill while dabbling in 10 others. This is not strategy. This is chaos. The first principle of Machiavellian focus is ruthless selection. When Machiavelli advised rulers, he told them to choose their battles carefully, but once chosen, to commit completely. You cannot focus on everything, because focusing on everything is focusing on nothing. You must identify the one domain where victory matters most and marshal all your resources there. This means saying no to opportunities that seem good but aren't great. It means disappointing people who expect your time and energy. It means burning bridges to paths you might have taken so that you cannot retreat from the path you've chosen. This is not comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of focus. Comfort is what keeps you scattered, always keeping your options open, never committing deeply enough to achieve mastery. Machiavelli understood that perception shapes reality. If you appear scattered, people will treat you as powerless. If you appear focused, they will assume you possess something valuable. This is why the cold strategist never reveals the full scope of his attention. He doesn't announce every project, doesn't share every goal, doesn't seek validation for every decision. He works in silence and lets results speak. While others are broadcasting their intentions, you're implementing them. While they're explaining their strategies, you're executing yours. While they're seeking encouragement, you're finding motivation in the work itself. This creates an aura of mystery that multiplies your perceived power. People begin to wonder what you're working on, what you know that they don't, what gives you the confidence to move so deliberately while they remain trapped in analysis and anxiety. The second principle is tactical invisibility. Machiavelli advised princes to study their enemies before revealing their plans. In your case, the enemies are the distractions that want to colonize your attention. Social media algorithms designed to fragment your focus, news cycles engineered to create artificial urgency, entertainment platforms optimized to trigger dopamine addiction. These are not neutral forces. They are sophisticated weapons designed to capture and monetize your mental resources. To defeat them, you must first study them. Notice when your attention collapses and why. Track which environments make you sharp and which make you sluggish. Identify the triggers that pull you away from deep work and the conditions that naturally support sustained focus. This is intelligence gathering, and like any intelligence operation, it requires cold observation without emotional attachment to the findings. Once you understand the enemy's tactics, you can design countermeasures. This might mean working in locations where distractions cannot reach you. It might mean scheduling your most important work during hours when your energy is naturally high. It might mean creating friction between yourself and the things that derail your attention. The cold strategist doesn't rely on willpower to resist temptation. He designs his environment so that focused work is the path of least resistance. The third principle is the manufacture of necessity. Machiavelli observed that people rise to meet genuine emergencies but remain complacent during times of comfort. Most people wait for external pressure to force them into focused action. The cold strategist creates that pressure deliberately. He sets deadlines that matter, makes commitments that carry real consequences, and structures his life so that focused work becomes a matter of survival rather than preference. This might mean betting money on your performance. It might mean making public commitments that would be embarrassing to break. It might mean accepting responsibilities that require you to develop new capabilities quickly. The key is to make the cost of unfocused behavior higher than the cost of sustained attention. When focus becomes necessary for your reputation, your income, or your identity, willpower becomes irrelevant. But even with perfect environmental design and manufactured pressure, focus will fail without emotional regulation. This is where most people collapse. They can maintain attention when everything is going well, but the moment they encounter criticism, setbacks, or unexpected challenges, their carefully constructed focus dissolves into reactive chaos. Machiavelli understood that a prince must remain calm while everyone around him panics. This is not natural. Under stress, the human brain defaults to emotional reactions that destroy clear thinking. The cold strategist must train himself to maintain strategic thinking, even when his primitive brain is screaming for immediate action. This requires practice with deliberate discomfort. Start small. When you feel the urge to check your phone during focused work, sit with that urge for 60 seconds before deciding whether to act on it. When someone sends you an urgent message that isn't truly urgent, wait 10 minutes before responding. When you encounter a setback in your work, pause and ask what a cold strategist would do before allowing emotion to dictate your response. These micro-practices build the emotional regulation that prevents focus from cracking under pressure. The fourth principle is systematic isolation. Machiavelli wrote his masterpiece not in the comfort of political power, but in the isolation of exile. Removed from the distractions of court life, his mind could operate at full capacity. Most people fear isolation because they confuse it with loneliness. The cold strategist sees isolation as a strategic advantage. This doesn't mean becoming antisocial. It means being selective about when and how you engage with others. It means protecting blocks of time where no one can reach you, where external opinions cannot influence your thinking, where you can work on what matters most without having to justify or explain your priorities to others. The highest quality thinking happens in solitude. The most important work gets done when you're unreachable. Schedule disappearances. Days when you turn off notifications, leave your usual environment and work somewhere nobody expects to find you. Use this time not just for executing tasks, but for strategic thinking about the direction of your efforts. Ask yourself whether your current focus is still serving your larger objectives. Question assumptions you've been carrying without examination. Plan moves that others won't see coming. The fifth principle is hierarchy of attention. Not all tasks deserve the same mental energy. Not all problems require immediate solutions. Not all opportunities merit serious consideration. Machiavelli taught rulers to distinguish between what appears urgent and what is actually important. The same principle applies to personal focus. Create categories for how you allocate attention. Mission-critical work gets your peak hours and full cognitive resources. Maintenance tasks get scheduled time but limited energy. Everything else gets ignored or delegated. This is not just time management, this is energy management. Your capacity for sustained attention is finite. Waste it on low-value activities, and you'll have nothing left for the work that actually transforms your circumstances. Most people do the opposite. They spend their best hours on email, social media, and busy work because these activities feel productive while requiring minimal mental effort. Then they wonder why they never make progress on their most important goals. The cold strategist protects his peak cognitive resources, like a military commander protects his elite troops. They get deployed only for battles that matter. As your focus deepens, others will begin to notice. They'll comment on your intensity, your unavailability, your apparent indifference to things that concern them. Some will be curious, others will be threatened. This is natural and should be expected. Focus creates separation. It marks you as different from those who remain scattered and reactive. Don't explain yourself. Don't justify your choices. Don't apologize for your priorities. The moment you start seeking approval for your focus, you dilute it. Let your results speak. Let your capabilities grow. Let others wonder what you're working on while you continue working on it. This mystery multiplies your influence because people project power onto what they cannot fully understand. The final principle is focus as identity transformation. You're not simply learning to concentrate better. You're becoming a different type of person, someone who operates from strategy rather than impulse, someone who builds rather than consumes, someone who creates rather than reacts. This transformation happens gradually, then suddenly. At first, focused work will feel like effort. You'll have to force yourself to maintain attention, to resist distractions, to continue when motivation fades. But as you persist, something shifts. Focus stops being something you do and becomes something you are. Your default mode changes from scattered reactivity to strategic action. You stop needing external motivation because the work itself becomes compelling. This is when you cross the line from someone who practices focus to someone who embodies it. Your presence communicates purpose. Your actions reveal underlying strategy. Your silence suggests hidden knowledge. You move through the world like someone who knows something others don't, and increasingly you do. While others debate methods and share motivational content, you've disappeared into your work. While they're consuming information about success, you're creating the conditions for it. While they're networking and promoting themselves, you're building something that speaks for itself. And by the time they notice what you've accomplished, you're already working on the next phase of your strategy. This is the path of the cold strategist. Not the gentle cultivation of mindfulness, but the ruthless optimization of mental resources. Not the balanced approach of trying to improve everything gradually, but the focused application of all available energy to the objectives that matter most. Not the comfortable maintenance of current capabilities, but the systematic development of power that others cannot match. The choice is yours. You can continue treating focus as a productivity technique, something to improve your efficiency while keeping everything else the same. Or you can understand it as Machiavelli did, as the fundamental technology of power, the difference between those who shape events and those who are shaped by them. The cold strategist knows which path leads to actual transformation. The question is whether you have the will to walk it.